What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Lex and I cover all kinds of fragrance and beauty content. And thank y'all so much for clicking on today's video. Welcome to 2025, y'all. This is the first video that I am sitting down and filming in 2025. And let's just say I am so excited about this year in 2024. It was a year that I want to leave in 2024. Let's just put it that way. So I will be giving you guys kind of a life update video very, very soon. Today's video is going to be a declutter, the first declutter of 2025, because I do want to let some things go here. So I have 8 fragrances here, in which all of them will be available for purchase on my Mercari. If you guys are interested, I will leave a link in the description box, but let's go ahead and jump into it. First fragrance on this list. This is actually a fragrance I did not even get a chance to haul on my channel, and I didn't really see a purpose in hauling it because I already knew I was not going to keep it, but this is Hermetica's Appear. I actually purchased this from another perfume girly here on YouTube, Amy Glam. The thing that I actually wanted to buy from her, someone had already bought it, so I just kind of blind bought this because it had some interesting notes. I don't think this was something that wowed me enough to stay in my collection. This does not smell bad by any means, but this also does not smell like enough of anything memorable or particular enough for me to want to keep this in my collection. This is a fresher, kind of fruity floral. It kind of has that sweet shampoo-y vibe, almost like an apple scented shampoo. But there are a million notes in here, y'all. What I smell the most is really just a very, very crisp, clean apple. I want to say there's like caramel in there as well. And while it smells good when I smell it, it kind of reminds me of something very familiar. Like there's just this kind of nostalgic smell to it, but at the same time, I can't pinpoint one thing over the other of what it smells like. So even though this smells nice, this will definitely be a great spring, summer perfume, and it opens up pretty fresh and juicy and sweet and fruity. This is just not something I see myself reaching for that I want to keep in my collection. Just kind of a fun blind buy. I was hoping it would work out. It's like, ooh, this is going to be apple caramel. This is going to smell really good. It does smell good, y'all, but it's just not memorable enough for me to keep in my collection. So Hermetica Appear will be getting out of here, but I will have this available for purchase, and one of you guys might enjoy it a little more than I do. Now, the next fragrance I will be decluttering actually might be a little bit of a shocker. I really, really loved it, but this perfume is a perfect example of seeing notes on paper that you normally love and even smelling the fragrance, loving it when you smell it, but then going to actually wear the fragrance. That is where it makes all of the difference. This is Len Noé Essence Paris Mirage Gourmand. And this is a niche fragrance. It smells really, really good, y'all. And when I hauled it, I believe I told you guys that to me, this smelled like a more powdery, creamy version of Cheirosa 71, which is like one of my favorite scents of all time. It has the same kind of nutty feel to it. And then there's this really creamy sweet almond. And I love how it smells when I first spray it, y'all. It almost kind of gives me a vibe of like a butterscotch. But when I wore this, you guys, there was something in here that was almost a little too powdery for my liking, which is crazy for me because number one, I love a good gourmand scent. This is a literal straight up gourmand that literally smells like food, okay? Like the sweetest of sweetest almond cakes, almond pastries, and I'm normally all about that. But in here, the almond went a little too powdery and kind of clean smelling to me, and I just feel like when I wore this on myself, on skin, whether it was on skin or my clothes, because sometimes, y'all, if a fragrance doesn't work with your actual body chemistry and you don't like how it smells on skin, you can still enjoy the fragrance and wear it on your clothes and just not spray it directly on you if you prefer how it smells on clothes. But even with this one, y'all, I sprayed it on clothes, I sprayed it on skin. Something about it just did not mesh well for me. And I feel like if I'm in the mood to wear this type of scent DNA, scent dynamic, I have some other almondy scents in my collection that I could layer with Cheirosa 71 by Sol de Janeiro and get the same vibe that I want and not have something smell a little off to me. So think BDK's Velvet Tonka if it were mixed with Cheirosa 71, which even to me, that sounds amazing. It smells amazing. And that is what this smells like. But like I said, y'all, when I go to wear this, there's something in here that is just a little too powdery and creamy for my liking. It almost gets a little too nutty and a little too literal. And I just don't like that. I don't know if my taste is changing, girl. Like, I always will forever be a gourmand girly, but I might kind of be straying away from the ones that literally smell like food. There's some buttery, powdery note in here that just makes it smell a little bit too much like food for me. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and part ways with this one. Now, speaking of gourmands that just did not work for you, girl, this is Shaghaf Oud's Vanilla Toffee by Swiss Arabian. If you guys saw my most recent Middle Eastern fragrance haul, y'all know I was not impressed with this. I was not impressed with this at all. It smells flat. It smells like some sort of just generic sweet fragrance. I can't say that it smells like vanilla. I do kind of get a toffee note, like a buttery toffee note. It just does not smell well blended. There's just something in here that is super off for me. Normally, y'all, I will hold on to my, oh my God, every time I smell it, y'all, it reminds me of like edge control. I don't know what it is, but that's what it reminds me of. And normally, y'all, I let my Middle Eastern fragrances sit and let them macerate, let them get better. But due to some things that are currently possibly happening in my life in the near future, I don't have time to just be letting stuff sit right now. If I were in a different space in my life and I wanted to have a large collection where I wanted to have an archive and just let things sit, I would probably hold on to this a little bit longer just to see if it gets better. But right now, I really want my collection to be a very small, curated, manageable size of things that I regularly reach for, of things that I immediately spray on and I'm like, oh my God, I love how this smells. And this is just not that for me. So maybe somebody else might have the time to let this sit, let this macerate, see if it gets better. But so far in the few weeks that I've had it, it's not doing it for me. And I literally cringe every time I smell it. So some people love it and think it's the best thing ever. I unfortunately am not one of those people. So if you want to give this one a try, it will be available for purchase. On the flip side for Middle Eastern fragrances, this next one, another shocker, because this is one that I absolutely love, 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 but I can no longer wear anymore. So this is Lattafa Nashit. And this is heavily compared to Nishane's Ani as a dupe, as a replica, as inspired by fragrance. And I have never actually smelled Ani, so I cannot say how perfect and spot on of a dupe it is, but those that do own that fragrance have said that this is a spot on dupe. This is a very, very spicy, woody vanilla. There's some nutmeg in here. There is some sort of sweet spice in here that really gives this a very spicy, almost kind of peppery opening, mixed with vanilla and this very, very woody base. And this is 100% a perfectly unisex fragrance. And honestly, y'all, what I love the most about this fragrance is the dry down, because something about how the nutmeg and the vanilla, I really feel like there is an unlisted citrus or lemon type of note in here that is not listed on Fragrantica, because I promise y'all, when this fully dries down, it reminds me of a woodier, darker, spicier version of like Dolce & Gabbana's Devotion. It has some sort of citrusy lemon gourmand dynamic in the dry down, and I absolutely love it. It gets me tons of compliments. The reason I cannot wear this anymore, y'all, is this fragrance is beast mode. Okay, I'm talking about beast mode and long lasting. And lately I am so prone to migraines, y'all. In my 30s, I have just become so much more prone to migraines. I have dealt with migraines my entire life, but in my 30s it has just gotten significantly worse. So really the scents that I reach for these days are the scents that they aren't necessarily extremely projecting, and they also aren't lasting 24 hours and up, which I know most people look for in their fragrances. But for me lately, I really need something that I can control my scent bubble. So if I want to go crazy with it, it's kind of cutesy, demure, feminine, powdery, sweet fragrances, those work really well for me because I can control how much I add on. I can control how strong it is. It can layer with things. And I usually can go to town on the sprays without choking myself out. This is kind of the complete opposite, in which every time I wear it, especially the opening, since it is so strong and woody and spicy, it gives me a migraine within the first 20 minutes of me wearing it. And if I leave the house wearing this, I'm going to be smelling it for the entire rest of the day. So as you can imagine, as someone who deals with migraines, if I have to be exposed to the same scent over and over and over again all throughout the day, it's literally going to make me want to throw up. And that has happened to me with this fragrance, unfortunately. So while I love how it smells, y'all, this truly smells so good. And I want to say They possibly might have discontinued this. Like the last time I went to go look for this to link it for y'all, I could not find it. So if I can find it, I will link it for you guys. If of course you don't purchase this bottle. But yeah, I truly love this, y'all. And it really did make me want to try Nishane's Ani, but I just can't deal with the projection level of this and the longevity of this. It just makes my head pound, and unfortunately I can't enjoy it anymore for that reason. So hopefully I will be giving this one a better home. And this is the last Middle Eastern fragrance from this haul, which I kind of knew I was probably going to declutter this one when I hauled it as well. I hauled this in the exact same video as I hauled the caramel toffee, but this is Paris Corner's Rifaaqat. And this is supposed to be a dupe or inspiration of YSL's Baby Cat, which is also very comparable to Rosendo Mateau's No. 5, which is a fragrance I have also decluttered in the past. And so I don't know what I was expecting when I got this, considering I just decluttered something very, very similar that was a niche fragrance, but I was hoping that this gave me a little bit more subdued version of that. And it absolutely does. And I will say I get way more of a sweet vanilla in here that has some sort of sweetened spice, like a cinnamon or a nutmeg, or even something a little boozy. And this smells really, really nice. But that suede, leather, whatever that is in here makes this smell a little slightly too masculine for me. This is 100% a unisex fragrance, but I think for me personally, it wears slightly more on the masculine side, which I don't completely vibe with. I do prefer my fragrances to smell more feminine most of the time. There are a few fragrances that I can get away with and pull off the kind of masculine note, but for the most part, I just prefer my fragrances to be a little bit sweeter. And in that same video, I hauled Lattafa's Serre, which I feel like took that suede leather kind of vanilla vibe and made it more wearable for me. So when I'm in the mood to wear this vibe, I will probably reach for that fragrance, and this one is going to end up collecting dust. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. I'm not even going to waste no time. I'm sure this one is fully macerated because, like I said, it smells really, really good, but I just know that this is not my particular preference. And I have something else that is very, very similar now that I feel like I will enjoy a little bit more. The next fragrance I will be decluttering. I want to say the first time I bought this fragrance, I actually ended up giving it to my mom because she really loved it. But I have done a full review on this fragrance when it originally released. I want to say a few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years now, in comparison to the original Alien as well as the original Alien Goddess, because that is one of my favorite fragrances ever. But this is Alien Goddess Intense. And like I told y'all before, I bought this before, I gave it a full wear test, and it just was not for me. I was not impressed with it, and I ended up giving that one away to my mother. And I was gifted a bottle recently, so I was like, all right, let me give it a try. Maybe I can try it in a different season, because I want to say when they originally released this one, it was like in the dead of summer. So I was wearing it like outside and like by the pool and stuff, and I just didn't have a good experience with it. So I was like, maybe let me just see if I can try it out in like the cold New York winter and see how I feel about it. And I kind of feel the same way, but I also feel like I have something comparable in my collection now that gives me a better version of this. But I do know some people really, really love this one. But for me, I prefer the original Alien Goddess. It just has that very sweet, creamy, coconutty, sweet vanilla, and it just gives me that tropical summery vibe that I'm looking for. In here, this takes the original Alien Goddess, kind of scales back on the things that I really, really love about the original Alien Goddess. I don't feel like I get as much vanilla or coconut in here, and I get a much heavier dose of jasmine. And for that particular reason, I have a million other perfumes in my collection that kind of have a prominent jasmine note that I would reach for before I were to reach for this. If I'm in the mood to wear this type of scent DNA properly executed to my liking, I'm just going to reach for the original Alien Goddess. I just feel like it's such a beautifully done, sweet, creamy, vanilla coconut mixture with a little touch of bergamot and just enough jasmine to make it smell like a perfume. Alien Goddess Intense, again, I'm going to have to let her go because she just does not work for me. I have tried it twice now and it's just not my vibe, but it is a beautiful fragrance overall. And the time that I did wear it, I did get quite a few compliments. So yeah. Now the next one I'm decluttering, this one is going to be kind of a strange declutter, but not really. But this is Dosier's Ambery Vetiver. Y'all, at this point, I have decluttered all of my Dosier fragrances except for Floral Marshmallow because that is like my fave. This is the Dosier dupe for Byredo's Bal de Freak. And the reason I'm decluttering this one, you guys, is because while this smells amazing, when I smelled this, it made me want to smell the original. And I actually smelled the original. Did I go in Neiman's or was it Bloomingdale's? It was in one of the major department stores. I was in a mall like a couple of weeks ago, smelled the original Bal de Freak, and I was like, I need to have that instead. So I'm decluttering this one because at some point I am going to buy the original Byredo version just so that I can have it. And I don't want to have a duplicate in my collection. So that's literally the only reason I'm getting rid of this, y'all. Like, this smells so, so good. This is such a classy, fresh floral fragrance, and it smells unique. There's something almost kind of like watery and aquatic about it. What are the notes in here, y'all? Let me see. Bergamot, lemon, buchu. That must be what I'm smelling. Orange blossom, marigold, violet, vetiver, amber, and cedarwood. Yeah, there's something in here. I don't know if it's the buchu or the cedarwood, but this is also 100% unisex, but I feel like the orange blossom and the violet in here definitely make this lean a little bit more feminine, but I just love this, y'all. It smells clean. It smells fresh. It smells powdery. It smells like you got money. Like, this is giving me a spa type of vibe, and I get that vibe from a lot of Byredo's fragrances. So this is definitely next on my list of things to purchase. The original Bal de Freak, because I really, really love how this smells, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this because I don't need to take enough space in my collection now that I know I want to get the original one. The last fragrance I will be decluttering is going to be Sweet Ash by Sniff. Y'all, this is such a crazy experience that I've had with this one because I just recently hauled this. So if you did not see that perfume haul, I will link it up top. But when I sprayed this, y'all, I thought I loved it. But when I went back and watched that footage, y'all, at the end of the video, I don't know if I included it or not. I may have possibly cut it out. But at the end of the video, I remember having such an adverse reaction to one of the things that I smelled. And I thought it was a Glossier fragrance, but it actually was this, which is crazy because when I first sprayed this, I actually really loved how it smelled. But the more it dried down, there is some type of woody note in here. I want to say it's like the moss and the cedarwood or something that is making this way too masculine leaning for me. And it's kind of crazy because I was looking through the reviews and I was like, girl, I'm like, why does this smell? It smells like very green and almost like a wet grass type of smell mixed with something very masculine. And it also smells a little bit like Baccarat Rouge. So I was like, there's something in here that I really like, but there's also something in here that I really just don't like once it fully dry down. And I was reading the reviews on Fragrantica, girl. I'm like, some people absolutely love this, and some people are like, girl, what is this? And some people who have purchased this in the past have said that it smells different and that they think that it may have been reformulated. This is my first time trying it, so I can't say how it compares to like a previous version. But if you guys have ever sprayed or used Sweet Ash and smelled it recently to compare, like, do you guys think it's changed? I don't know, but whatever is in here, I'm just not vibing with. And it just smells way too masculine. It's definitely just a very green, almost kind of like a balsam type of smell, like a pine tree or something like that. It smells very outdoorsy, very woody, like very wet green, mixed with a little bit of Baccarat Rouge. So again, when I first sprayed this, I thought it smelled incredible. And I was like, ooh, this smells really, really good. Like, I would love to wear this. But as it fully dried down, after I finished filming that video, I was like, girl, I literally had to scrub this off of me in the shower because I could not vibe with it. So unfortunately, this particular Sniff fragrance is not for me, but I have plenty of other faves from the brand. Yeah, this one just got to go, unfortunately. All right, you guys, that is it for this declutter video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if any of these are your faves or you guys have also tried some of these and just weren't vibing with them. Like I said, they will be available on my Mercari for anyone who is interested in purchasing, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.